Hey, Aaron.
The Durantula?
I don't know what's happening.
If anything can do it, the Warriors are going to 0-3.
It's certainly not cold. Yeah. Well, I didn't know Toronto had a better record because they're playing Toronto was playing at home. So you're supposed to win the game.
I love how Hare was playing Bomberman when it was games, and now it's like people fucking ridiculous. What are they doing?
No, I
didn't know what playing Magic.
Yeah.
Yep, it is a card game. So they're going to be broadcasting that over the internet. Yep.
It must be very popular.
What?
It must be very popular.
It is, yeah.
And my nephew, he's on 15, he told me about it.
Yeah.
But I didn't know too much about it.
Sure, yeah.
You know,
What's everybody doing? It's Jim back up for the top 8. Took a little break, but we have Dan Ford on Goblins and Anthony Hare on Bomberman. I think it's mono. I think it's mono white Bomberman. Bomberman.
Doing things that Bomberman can. Do we have a deck list for either of them, or do I have them both?
I think I have Dan Ford's.
I have Hares.
Oh, these are very much out of order again.
Okay, so we have Anthony Hare on what looks like mono white Bomberman, or some sort of Chalice Karn Stompy. We have Walking Ballistas, Lion's Eye Diamonds, Ariok Salvagers, Chalice of the Voids, Baubles, Monastery Mentors, and Karns. To go with the Soul Land mono white mana base. Is lacking a lot of no one-cost spot removal, so that Chalice is going to be the only way he stops. So it'll be Chalice or comboing off before Dan Ford can kill him. Do you have a list for Dan?
I do. Looks like it's a black splash in this version of Goblins. So we have, standard Goblin cards: Lackey, Matron, Ringleader, Crater Makers, 2 Pile Drivers. I'm trying to see what the black splash is for. It doesn't look like anything in the main deck. Oh, actually, I'm sorry. Let me take that back. The black splash in the main deck looks like a copy of Volrat's Stronghold. Is actually being played by Dan Ford. That kind of card is something that could make the games go long, but I don't.
Can you get me a list of just what the decks are?
I don't think that
Thank you.
I don't think the black for Volrat's Stronghold is going to be taking.
It's not relevant in this
It's not relevant in this game yet. That's what I was trying to say. I started. Anthony Hare is trying to end the game very, very quickly.
Wow, he had to go all in on a turn 1 Monastery Mentor because he has no other answer for Goblin Lackey. But that is a great answer. Turn 1 Lackey versus turn 1 Monastery Mentor, 2 tokens, and presenting combo things. So Hare doesn't have a lot of instant speed interaction. So if Dan Ford can get anything going, he's going to be okay.
Well, I think that Anthony Hare is now on 0 lands. The Mox Opal's not active, and obviously Lion's Eye Diamond doesn't make mana with cards that you want to cast in your hand. So we'll just be casting with... We have a special guest appearance.
He wants nothing to do with this. So Dan continuing to develop. The clock, Anthony can't actually attack because if he leaves... get the sound off. If he leaves any room up, the Lackey will... Thank you. Will connect, but Hare does not have anything he can do. He has 0 mana available.
So Vial continues to tick up.
That was the clutchest wasteland, but I mean, Goblins always has the clutch wastelands. So Dan's starting to develop.
That's a War Chief. So now We have another token coming out of the Monastery Mentor, but the big thing that we're taking away from this is that Mox Opal is now active.
Mox Opal is in fact active, but he needs to get to 4 to cast the Salvagers to win the game.
Yes. But it looks like we're just casting a Chalice
There's
on
a
one.
Chalice on one, which is very not good, seeing how Dan doesn't have any one-cast spells, and if he did, they are uncountable goblins. I think he's really just triggering prowess tokens, trying to get the beatdown going on. So for the top 8, just so you guys know, we have Anthony Hare on Bomberman, Dan Ford on Goblins, Killian Minton on Lands, get everyone's name, Shane Flannery on Blue Red Delver, Michael Day on Black Red Reanimator, Cody, I've said his last name wrong 16 times, Gormlex on Goblins, the second Goblin hero. We have Themos Pantopolopoulos on Burn and Grey Elman on Elves. So it's a very, very creature heavy.
So here's going to be a really large blowout. Dan Ford's going to go get a Goblin Chain Whirler, and or no, a Sharpshooter. Okay, Sharpshooter's even better. Sharpshooter has haste because he has a Goblin War Chief.
Yes.
So Sharpshooter is coming down, and it is preventing any future tokens from existing.
Does he have the Prospector? And there's a lot of tapping, there's a lot of untapping. This should be... There's the Prospector, so the Monastery Mentor is effectively dead. Everyone's coming in. This game might be very quickly out of hand. There's the Ringleader. 3, 4, hits 2. Not sure what Anthony Hare can do from here with the aggressive shuffling of cards in his hand. There's more goblins. Goblins on goblins on goblins. Outs right now, probably something along the lines of Land, Dark Ritual, Lotus Petal, Salvagers.
Black Lotus.
Channel. Fireball would also work if we're getting in there.
He drew City of Traders. It's not over.
For a Walking Ballista, he still needs one more land. If he wouldn't have popped off with the Lotus Petal last turn, Salvagers would be an option. That is just lethal, correct?
Yeah.
Is there any world where Dan doesn't have lethal here? Because it's sack his board with Sharpshooter.
Yeah.
Attack for a bunch, Sharpshooter the rest.
Yeah. Not really too much into this. We're gonna matron, maybe get a pile driver.
What do you mean not too into this? This is beautiful.
No, it is, but I'm just saying there's not much more to this. Like,
there's a sea of wonderful red things happening.
we're just going,
There's
yeah.
the pile
We're taking you to Goblin Church.
There's the pile driver. Pile driver's in play. Walking Ballista has to be dead.
Can I borrow a moment of your time to talk about our Lord and Savior Goblin Lackey? Because Dan Ford wants to talk about
Our
him.
Lord and Savior Krenko.
Oh no, Krenko? No, what Krenko?
We got Lackey's just a lackey. Lackey isn't the Lord and Savior.
Take me to church.
Welcome to Goblin Church. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 damage right off the top.
In response.
Yeah, he's not letting that happen. In response, I will tap this.
Walking Ballista trigger. The death trigger.
Untaps it. Taps it again.
I love that motion from Dan Ford. Like, this is the you are dead motion.
He might have brought himself one more turn. That might only be 10 damage. Yep. And there's a...
Cratermaker kills the Lion's Eye Diamond. Okay.
Which really stops the combo.
Yes.
He could have just played that pre-combat and
Swung with it.
swung with it. Anthony Hare does the aggressive shuffle, drops half of his deck, and picks him up. And we move to game 2.
I'm not gonna lie, I thought Goblin Lackey 1, our Twitch viewer, was Dan Ford. I'm really surprised to hear that it's not. We're Goblin pals.
I mean, there's not very many of you Goblin players, so I'm
And
sure.
Hadley's playing at a GP, so
And
it can't be,
Hadley's at a GP.
it can't be Hadley.
How are there that many Goblin players in this state? All I'm saying is that you Goblin players, there's only 35 viewers in chat. The lone players had like 109 people last time. It blew up in their Discord for the Phoenix City champs. They're shuffling up. What do you think from any of these? Any sideboards? What do you think you have? What does Dan do?
Okay, let's see. Surgical Extraction, Relic of Progenitus, Tormod's Crypt.
So just a lot of
Thorn of Amethyst seems like a beating.
a lot of very relevant cards in Dan's sideboard.
Pithing Needle.
Also seems like a beating.
My main man Anthony, I need an Oracle text.
Yes.
What is Earwig Squad?
Earwig Squad is a prowess goblin for
Okay.
2 and a black.
Okay.
When it comes into play, you Jester's Cap the opponent.
Oracle text on Jester's Cap, please.
Remove 3 cards from their library.
Can Anthony Hare win if he does that?
Yeah, that doesn't really stop Anthony Hare. That's more for remove Tendrils of Agony, and
Can't he remove all the Walking Ballistas and then the combo fizzles?
he can still combo you out with infinite prowess tokens.
Okay.
So I mean, the Anthony Hare deck does have a couple ways to win. One of them is just making a lot of mana. The other one is going to be Karn into Myrcid Lattice, I believe.
we
No,
have-
never mind. He does not have Karn into Myrcid Lattice. He has the wrong Karn. Different Karn. But he does have Anthony Hare, the Bomberman player, does have Ensnaring Bridge, Containment Priest, Ratchet Bomb, Sorcerous Spyglass, a lot of options he can take. Some Disenchants if he's really scared of those Vile Hands. A lot of options to see what he could do with or without diluting his game plan. Like, I could see the Karns coming out. They're just going to be very slow. The Monastery Mentors are good. The Oblivion Rings are probably also too slow for anything he wants to do.
Yeah, I mean, I think that it's surprising. Like, a fast combo deck like Anthony's seems like it should be very well positioned against a deck like Goblins, but the configuration of Dan Ford's deck really leads to actually a stronger matchup than you would on paper see.
I mean, nothing against the Goblins players or the Elf player in the room right now, but this is what happens when you don't respect little creatures that go wide. Like these tribes, these almost forgotten tribes of Legacy do really good things, and they do really strong things when people aren't ready for them. We saw it last round where the Grixis player just got steamrolled by Elves, where they had no Sweeper's main deck.
Yep.
I mean, the guy just put himself in a huge hole. That's been happening all day with these Goblins players. They're just running over people's defenses when they're sitting here with things like Chalice on 1 and Thorn of Amethyst, and to stop these combo players, to stop the more degenerate stuff. They are, unfortunately, they're tier 2 or tier 3 decks that are tuned to beat the tier 1 decks. But then they run up against something like Goblins, which is just going to be a stone brick wall when you're trying to stop. When your main goal is miracles.
I mean, it was crazy though. Like you're talking about going wide. Like that game, Anthony Hare made 7 monk tokens on turn 2, and the Goblins deck went wider.
Okay, he made 2 monk tokens on turn 1, and then made 1 monk token a turn. That's just not fast enough. Like, that's 1/1 monk tokens when they're not being constantly replenished and pumped isn't a big deal. Like, just one pump spell, one instant. You know, think about if this was a Miracles deck, the Monastery Mentor, you're not attacking with 1/1s, you're attacking with 2/2s, you're attacking with 3/3s because you're just chaining cantrips on your turn.
Yes.
And you're making more and they're huge. In this situation, he made them and they were staying 1/1s. Like, he didn't have a recurring source of pump and of prowess for them. And a Goblin player can beat 1/1s, and you saw that with the Goblin Sharpshooters. They eat on this shit. Like, if you're trying to play a fair aggro game of Magic, Goblins is going to destroy you. Like, the card advantage and card selection it has is just outrageously aggressive. And with a deck like Bomberman, like, you're just counting on it's those non-blue decks, but it's not a blue deck that has the crop rotations and the gambles. It doesn't have the Green Sun Zeniths and the natural orders. Like, it's kind of just drawing off the top of its library, hoping that everything lines up perfectly.
All right, fetch land from Dan. Starting things off with at least some kind of one drop. Is it the Lackey? Is it the Chow? Is it the Vial? Like, what are we gonna get? Is it something like a Relic of Progenitus? Like,
if it's the Lackey, Anthony Hare might quit on the spot. I mean, it's still just the start that he cannot do anything about. See, and him just slowing down, Danforth just slowing down, letting Anthony Hare. You can see in his hand he has triple Salvager Lions Eye Diamond. So his hand is essentially 2 cards. There's the port. It's does Anthony Hare get to the mana to cast this Salvagers, and does he naturally draw a way to combo off and win the game? Mog Fanatic.
the old stalwart.
Got him. Apparently, I think a lot of the Magic community, especially the Magic Online community, is from Europe this day and age. It's a very, very large community of young adults playing Magic. So Anthony Hare still suffering, just needs to make land drops. This is kind of like the old, what was it? Blue-white control matchups we were talking about, where they just need to get to 4 mana. Back then it was for Wrath of God, but at this point it's going to be 4 mana for Salvagers.
I mean, if he gets to 4 mana on Salvagers, he wins the game on the spot, right?
Unless Danforth has some form of...
Or like a Surgical in his hand.
Well, he doesn't have the win card. He has the infinite mana.
Okay.
This is a 3-card combo, these Bomberman things, and this is really what keeps them from being good. 2-card combos are, Painter, Grindstone, Show and Tell, Gristlebrand, stuff like that. Entomb, Reanimate. This is a 3-card combo that costs 4 mana and requires you to discard your hand. So it's all in every version of the word. And without an actual soul land, without having the Ancient Tomb, without having the City of Traders, he's getting wrecked by this Richard Import. And Danforth is not running Chalice of the Void in his board. He's running 2 Thorn of Amethyst, relevant cards, 2 Thorn of Amethyst, 2 Surgical Extractions, 1 Tormod's Crypt, 1 Pithing Needle. Those are going to be the big cards that we think we'll see.
All right, so at this point, Dan has double Ringleader in hand, so the Vial on 4 is going to be real good. That is a whiff on the first Ringleader.
But this is the real problem with these tier, you want to call them tier 3, tier 2 combo decks. The Bombermans, the Nick Fits, the... What else? What are the weird decks am I thinking of? The Poxes of the world.
Food Chain.
The Food Chains of the world. Like, they're just difficult, and they're not as consistent as they need to be. As much as people don't like playing against Show and Tell and Dark Depths and Storm every matchup, these tier 3 decks just don't have what it takes, especially the combo ones.
So I think Dan is sitting on double Ringleader in hand right now, so you know.
Unfortunately,
Oh, okay. Mox Opal is active. Okay. Creating a Monastery Mentor. Bobble.
so this is with the Monastery Mentor. If the turn goes back to Anthony Hare and that Monastery Mentor lives, he will have infinite 1/1 tokens and infinite prowess. There's the Pyrokinesis.
I think Dan was telling him to slow down because he had a trigger.
Yeah. I mean, the Monastery Mentor was the win condition that Anthony Hare needed.
So Dan just picked up a mentor, a matron.
Matron.
Yeah.
I mean, Dan needs some graveyard aid.
Trash Master.
That works. That's probably a game.
Well, I mean, it doesn't have haste because he doesn't have a lure.
It doesn't need haste. It's gonna delete. It's gonna destroy both of his ancient tombs, his Mox Opal,
Yeah.
and leave him with 1 land.
Yeah, he doesn't even need to eat the opal. He could just eat the 2 lands and turn the opal off.
Yeah, no, his clock doesn't actually matter. He's just gonna, or he should just do some damage, sacrifice a bunch of lands. There it is, or sacrifice a bunch of goblins. He's gonna tap it. He's gonna keep his clock, I guess.
Oh. He found a City of Traders.
He has infinite mana. Infinite mana is a thing. Don't know why Dan Ford didn't play. Well, he has infinite mana and he has infinite Mishra's Baubles. Dan Ford might have just thrown the game. So what does infinite Mishra's Baubles do? You draw a bunch of cards, or I guess he doesn't do infinite. I guess he does an arbitrarily some amount.
Yeah, but here's the thing. He makes infinite mana. He can get the infinite bauble, but he can't draw a card this turn.
No, so Dan will have to kill him next turn. That was a big punt, and everyone on Twitch chat saw it. So he doesn't have blockers. That might actually be the thing. Like, he has lethal on the board.
Yeah, but he still needs to find a way to get around the salvagers.
Yes.
So with the blocker, it's 6. Does Anthony Hare have any way to win at instant speed with all the mana that he
Anthony
makes?
Hare does not have a way to win in instant speed right now.
Okay.
This goes back to the 3-card combo that doesn't actually win you the game.
Yeah.
Anthony Hare can bobble 10 times.
Yeah.
He can draw 10 cards.
But he can't
And
actually...
and he probably wins next turn if Dan can't kill him. He does get to cast a Chalice of the Void at any amount he wants. So what does Dan need to do here after he punted?
Is Dan Hellbent?
Dan has 1 card in his hand. I do not know. I do not know what it is.
I think it's another ringleader.
So he can ringleader. If there's a ringleader in his hand, he probably still just wins. Because then that's 7 damage. So if he has a ringleader in his hand, he still wins. I don't think Anthony has any instant speed anything. Yeah, so he has the ringleader. He still should win the game. They're talking over the...
These are explaining all the shit he's shortcutting, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Because Tony is a reckless.
Yeah.
I mean, we think Tony's still dead.
Tony's still dead.
Yeah.
He can't win an instant speed. So he draws his deck because the interaction
He
with
cannot win till his next.
yeah. The interaction with Bobble is that he draws on the upkeep of
Yes.
the next turn. So like he has infinite mana. Now he's drawn all these cards, but his mana pool is empty. So he can't actually make a bunch of mana without discarding the rest of his hand. But once he discards his hand, his win condition is the Walking Ballista. Can't cast it on Dan Ford's upkeep. So I think that the Bomberman deck still loses here because I think that Dan has.
He might have gotten. He drew his deck
What is that card?
and played a Containment Priest. I'm not sure how he played the Containment Priest. I'm going to clarify.
There's a video of someone doing
All I'm saying is nothing's going on right there.
What's up?
Okay, he did crack the Lion's Eye Diamond before he drew his deck, so he had 3 mana going into the draw for the Containment Priest. So 2 Containment Priests are actually in play.
Who's Pretty Lights
Dan.
fam? I don't know who you are.
Dan has probably punted the game away. The only thing that saves him in hand is going to be, I don't even know. Oh, actually, Surgical Extraction, which he does not have. I'm not exactly sure why Dan didn't violin the ringleader in response.
I mean, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's just not a.
And with 3-0, they're right. Like, Dan should have. I mean, he did have 2, so he could have at least turned off. If they did it all completely, they could have turned off both.
So I don't understand. Like,
Anthony here can't discard his hand right now, right?
no, he can.
No, he can't because there it is. Yeah, he wants to play things out first.
I mean, he doesn't really need to. He's just kind of showing off at this
Yeah.
point.
It feels like a whole lot of lazy shortcutting.
Yeah.
Hey Zent. Hey Zent. Can someone watch their game? Anthony here's doing a lot of shortcutting.
Yeah, so he's now returned. He's used 2 white mana to return the Lion's Eye Diamond with the Salvagers, sacking the Lion's Eye Diamond to itself, making white, and then Salvagers to return it to his hand, thus creating a loop.
Yes.
So, the loop is now that Anthony Hare will have an infinite number of white mana in his mana pool and 0 cards in his hand. Now, the kill, if this is not a surgical extraction, no, it wouldn't even matter, because if it was a surgical extraction, he just returns it again in response with the infinite mana.
Yes, it's already happened.
Yeah, so this game is over. So we're going to return the Walking Ballista. It is an infinite Walking Ballista,
And he's gonna kill him for infinite.
and he's going to kill him.
Punt of the day.
Yeah, unfortunately, this is a difficult match on camera without hearing the actual players, because in an infinite loop combo, there's a lot of shortcutting that happens. So we do apologize that it's a little bit not easy to follow along with what's going on. We're trying our best to make sure that we get everything right.
He's gonna play everything in the store.
Yeah, absolutely right. If he just sacked both his goblins and removed both the lands, there weren't any cards that he could have drawn to prevent to initiate the combo. Leaving him on 2 mana into something like City of Traders or Ancient Tomb was what unlocked the hand.
Yeah. All he had to do was kill.
He killed. Yeah, if he kills
the
one
second,
more
the
Ancient
second
Tomb.
land. Like he should have killed, and he should have killed the opal as well.
He did kill the opal. He left the two ancient ends.
No,
He did.
Because one ancient den, one was tapped from.
Port, and the other one was a cavern. He went cavern, Ancient Den, City of Traders, tap, make salvagers.
Okay, something like that.
Yeah.
Either way, he needed to kill all the mana. Yeah, left the dens. He cracked the LEDs, drew his deck, cast the priests. Dan did not destroy the LEDs before the turn passed.
Time out. Time out.
You lost?
All right, so here we got land go and land lackey into a war chief.
No, then I can't go ask him for store credits.
We've just learned that blue-red
Also,
Delver
sent a message, so
has beaten lands. Blue-red Delver advances.
So this is huge. Dan Ford on turn 2 has a war chief off a lackey and a crater maker with active mana. So
Dan Ford seems to be angry.
this is Dan Ford is in the driver's seat in this match now. A second crater maker comes down and we are
Off to the races.
off to the races.
Here is a blocker.
Looks like we're not going to let that happen.
Still take 5 plus a trigger.
Trigger on the lackey. Oh, no trigger on the lackey. We're passing the turn.
So I see the Salvagers. I see
Looks
a
like a-
Monastery Mentor.
Looks like an Oblivion Ring in their hand, too. Alright, so Oblivion Ring on the Crater Maker. Protect the combo.
Coming in hot.
Dan is all in.
We still see a Salvagers. We don't see the combo yet. A lot of land.
Looks like
Walking Ballista.
a 3/3 Walking Ballista.
Walking Ballista is gonna be hard to beat in this situation for Dan. I mean, now he just gets to add a counter return to Walking Ballista and start machine gunning down goblins.
If they don't have one, what do you need?
I have to do more research because I don't want to just like casually has like a 50-50 matchup of like everything. I don't know if that's right.
That's not a bad start.
What's that?
That's a Crater Maker.
That's the Crater Maker? Yeah. I mean, his board's still, Dan's board's still wiped. I think this game's a little more tense than the last one, especially after the punt.
Yeah, that's what I think I saw too. Which is good because if he does get something in the yard that you can surgical, that might be the card that saves him. So he kills the 2 lackeys. We're back at parity. No board state to no board state.
The problem is that Hare has a salvagers that can bring back the Walking Ballista.
Yeah, but that's why I think that the the surgical is going to be the big card out of.
Not with this. Yeah, the last card is a surgical.
Surgical, the Walking Ballista.
You want to cast? I can play PJ.
So PJ can get out of here.
So, all right, we got surgical extraction in response to the chalice, and it's going to hit all of the Walking Ballistas out of Anthony's deck.
They haven't scored in 5 minutes.
What the fuck happened to this game?
They haven't scored in 5 minutes.
Ladies and gentlemen,
No, don't do that.
I want to welcome to the cast
Don't do that.
your commander-in-chief, owner and operator.
You have to stop. You have
Owner
to
and
stop.
operator, Zachariah Zent. Say hello to your fans.
Hey, people. How many people we got?
We got 45 people watching.
45 people. That's not bad.
I mean, considering our tournament turnout was 43, where are you 45 people? Why are you not here? Playing in the tournament.
Well, maybe they just live someplace else. So, catch me up here, Jim. We're looking at Anthony Hare and Dan Ford.
Yep, so this is game 3.
Okay.
And it looks like we're about to see the infinite combo loop.
Yeah, so it looks like he dropped a card on the floor. Not sure if that's part of the combo or not. Maybe,
Lion's Eye Diamond on the floor is definitively part of the combo. Okay, so basically you're seeing the same thing that happened in game 2. We have Auriok Salvagers plus Lion's Eye Diamond to make infinite mana. You add 3, discard your hand, and then you use 2 for the Auriok Salvagers to bring back the Lion's Eye Diamond, so on and so forth. Every iteration of that is 1 mana. So now we have infinite mana in our mana pool. What we're going to do is we're going to use the infinite mana in our mana pool, and we're going to Mishra's Bauble 100 times. We're going to draw.
don't think it's quite 100 times because then he would lose the game.
He would
on-
deck.
yeah,
Yep.
Yeah,
But an
I think he
arbitrarily large amount of cards.
Yeah, I think he just grabbed about halfway, a little bit, looks like more than halfway through the deck there.
He just grabbed a grip of cards.
And I think what he's looking for here is Walking Ballista, right?
So-
and it has to be in there.
Walking Ballista is surgical. So basically what's going to happen from here is it's going to be a Monastery Mentor into this game.
Gotcha.
He'll play the Monastery Mentor and then
And it looks
just
looks like that on that fat stack of cards. It was the card that he had on top there.
Yep. So from here, it's literally an infinite loop with Lion's Eye Diamonds and everything. He doesn't have to play another card. He could just say infinite 1/1s, and that's going to work.
But he still doesn't. Win on his turn right now.
No.
He's going to have to pass back to Dan Ford, and we're going to see if You think Goblins can win in one turn from a lackey board state with infinite 1/1s?
No, the only thing that
No, that's
no.
okay. You're going out on a
But
limb there with the answer no.
No, I'm
Okay.
I'm confident in my answer. But the thing that we're gonna see if Dan has one more draw step is if he can draw the card Goblin Chain Whirler. Goblin Chain Whirler is really it.
Well, it looks like someone in the chat, Goblin Lackey 1, says sudden demise with X equals 4. Because I guess that's the toughness on the white creature that's part of the combo there. I forget the name of that.
Yeah, but another play mistake from Dan Ford. He didn't sleeve that card today, so we're.
Oh, it's not in his list.
It's
then?
not in his list. Yeah.
Does he have any sweepers that would get him out of this that
No.
he could top deck? So I
It's
guess
just
Dan
Chain
Ford
Whirler.
is just letting him play out the combo here for all of our viewers on the stream. Because if he doesn't have an answer here, he's just letting Hare go to town. Well, that's too bad. He doesn't have that in his 75.
It's also, I'm pretty sure that that's a double black spell. That would be tough on the mono red, pretty much mana base.
Sudden Demise is actually, it does X to a color, and it's
Oh,
X
okay.
and 1 red to cast.
Oh, okay.
So he would need it for 4 to completely shut off the combo now and put everything back into the graveyard. Yeah, it's X red, yeah.
Okay. I was thinking of a different card.
Yep. Thanks, Goblin Lackey 1. Yeah, it doesn't look like, he doesn't have that in his
So,
75 at all.
Anthony Hare's locking things up. He's got Chalice on 2, Chalice on 3,
And
Chalice
Dan is
on 4.
Hellbent?
Dan's Hellbent, yeah.
And yeah, he's securing the victory on his turn here, ensuring that he completely locks him out of the game. So doesn't matter what he draws here at this point. Okay. Is that a Cavern of Souls that he has though?
Yeah.
So he could cast it through the Chalice. There we go. So he's gonna get 2 goblins. It looks like. Oh man, I can't tell what they are from here. I'm not that familiar.
Trash Master and a Chieftain.
Trash Master and a Chieftain. Perfect. That does not a whole lot. And there's the handshake right there. So
All right, so that game locked up by Anthony Hare on Bomberman, and he will move on to the top 4. Unfortunately for our Goblins Master Dan Ford, it's to the rail.
all right. Well, he still did well with goblins,
Yep.
making it to top 8 here with 40.
We have 2 copies of Goblins in the top
we have
8.
2 copies of That's too many. If
We have
if
2
you ask
copies
me.
of Goblins, 1 copy of Elves in the top 8. Okay, so we're going to take a break while we get our top 4 matches confirmed, and we'll be back with another match in just a little bit of time, okay? See y'all later.
So yeah, it's Bomberman, Turbo Bomberman, Blue Red Dogger,